ActiveCampaign deadline funnel. We're going to talk about setting up an evergreen deadline funnel, and then inside ActiveCampaign, create an automation that uses the deadline funnel, and finally, installing a WordPress plugin to enable deadline funnel on your site. So let's dive right in. So first thing to do is simply let's create a new campaign. Along the way, we're probably going to have to backtrack to enable our ActiveCampaign, but let's just start with creating a new campaign. Now we're going to use an evergreen, and deadline funnel will simply walk you through questions that it needs to have answered to create. So tell us a little bit more. We are going to call this DFACWP. Not going to worry about that. We want this to end, let's say, 5 days after someone starts at 11:59 p.m. US Eastern Time Zone. So the main sales page is where do you want to send them to? And let's do this. This is actually a WordPress site. And then once the promotion or the deadline funnel is expired, where do you want to send them to next? So I'm going to send them there. We're going to connect to ActiveCampaign. There's a number of different sites you can. And again, this is going to be WordPress. So I'm going to save this code off. I don't know if I'm really going to use it because I will have the WordPress plugin installed shortly, but let's just save it for saving. So at this point, we're on this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps, and we're going to skip this part here and go through and actually make sure everything's looking the way it should, and we could come back to here. So this is basically reviewing what I decided. I don't remember telling it's going to have a floating bar timer, but it will. And we don't want that to happen. So I'm going to actually get rid of that. Yes, I'm sure. So this is all I really want. When they land on this page, they'll see the floating bar timer, and then they'll get redirected to this after it expires. So next is email setup. And I actually need to integrate with ActiveCampaign. So I'm not going to do anything just yet here. Appearance, okay, we'll just use that as the inline countdown timer. Settings, we're going to go through here briefly. Live or test mode, yes, we'll use both cookies and IP address. Okay, deadline, it's an evergreen, 5 days, Eastern Time Zone. Email, ActiveCampaign, are you using email in your promotions? Yes. We could change the format if we want. I'm going very detailed, very specific. Let me just save that real quick. Go to advanced. Now, we're going to leave this the way it is for now, but you can basically recycle this funnel after a certain number of days. So that's kind of a powerful feature. Code snippets will be useful, but for now, we're not going to do anything. So we need to go to set up our API integration. So let's go ahead and do that. Select ActiveCampaign. It needs the API URL and API key. So inside my ActiveCampaign account, upper right-hand corner, my settings, and I believe it's developer. And we'll copy that. And we're going to create a new custom field. And I am going to use deadline text. I'm going to go ahead and create that. There's the webhook URL, so you want to save that one off. So make sure you've got that readily available so that when we get into ActiveCampaign, that's available. And I'm not going to test it because I haven't done anything yet. Now let me go back to my campaign. Go to settings. Let's make sure the API integration. So there, perfect. And then we can do some testing. So we've done kind of the heavy lifting, if you will, inside deadline funnel. Now let's go to our ActiveCampaign account and create an automation that uses that deadline funnel. Create a new automation from scratch. I'm not going to be too worried about how people get into this automation. That's kind of up to you. So I'm going to say start without a trigger. And I am going And I'm just going to throw in a 5-minute wait so that we can actually test this and step through it. 5 minutes. We're going to go ahead and save that. And then for this to work properly, whenever you want the deadline funnel to start, you need to have a webhook back to deadline funnel. So let's go ahead and do that. Under Conditions and Workflow, the purple webhook. And this is where you want to take that code you copied and go ahead and save that. So as soon as this person gets put into this automation, they wait 5 minutes, and then the webhook talks deadline funnel, which then starts the timer for that person. Now we're going to put in an email, and let me show you what we can do here. So let's go ahead and send an email. We're going to do something. Okay, so pretty much a plain Jane email. This is going to have a link and a countdown timer for deadline funnel in here. So we're going to leave this text. I'll modify this text. Now we're going to go back in just a minute and get some information from deadline funnel. So we want to put in an HTML block, which is going to have the countdown timer inside the email. We need to do that. So let's go back to deadline funnel. I'm going to view all campaigns. And I'm going to go to email setup. And because I'm using ActiveCampaign, it's smart enough to realize this is the code that needs to be inserted for ActiveCampaign. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that back into here. And right here, I'm going to paste that code in. Save it. And sometimes it may or may not show up, but in this case it does. So this is the amount of time that it's going to go until it expires. So it's 5 days and then at midnight Eastern time. So this lines up with that right now. And again, I want to just point out that it automatically puts in this % email to personalize it. So I'm going to go ahead and save it because I think that's all I'm going to do for this. Now remember, it's going to go to the before URL, the link that it doesn't expire initially. And then we could repeat this. We could add in the same countdown timer to multiple emails. We could put it in a different location. It could be a different style. But for the purpose of this, let's just in this automation. So that's our deadline funnel automation set up inside ActiveCampaign. So next step is go to your WordPress site, and we're going to install a WordPress deadline funnel plugin. And you want to download this plugin. So there it is. It's called Deadline Funnel-Zip. So now we'll go to plugins. We're going to add a new one. Let's go ahead and activate that plugin. Let's go to here. So I need to go back and get my Deadline Funnel API key. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that key. Super long key, paste it in here, click on Save Settings. So now I want to set up my pages to display the appropriate deadline funnel. So if you remember, one of them is called My Special Promotion. So let's go take a look at it right now and see what it looks like. So there. It's smart enough to know what to install on there. And actually that is, yeah, it's 5 days from now. So because I chose the pages that I wanted to display on, Deadline Funnel with the WordPress plugin is smart enough to display that on that page. So I can actually close that if I want. And then I'm just going to look at the Sorry You Missed It page because that should not have a deadline funnel in it. So no, it doesn't have that on there, just on the appropriate page. So there, this is the only page that's going to have that deadline funnel in there. So now let's do probably the most important part, which is simply to test this out and to make sure it works. So I'm going to add myself to this deadline funnel, send out that email, which should have a deadline funnel countdown timer on it, and a link to the special offer page. So I'm going to add them to the deadline funnel ActiveCampaign automation. And I will refresh that page, and I should be in the 5 minutes. So there I am right there. So I haven't started my deadline funnel. As soon as I do this, I'm actually going to skip over this, and this should fire off, and then I should get an email momentarily. So a little check mark there indicates that happened. Check mark there means I've received that email. So we will check to make sure that email has been received. So before we do that, let's go back to deadline funnel and make sure that I've been added here. Let's go to event tracking, and there I was just added there. So now it's a matter of checking the email. So here I am inside my email, and there's the countdown timer. So it's 5 days, 10 hours, 25 minutes. 5 days, 10 hours, 25 minutes. So it's working as expected. So that's how you set up ActiveCampaign with deadline funnel.